Silly Polly Beast is a bold, unapologetic fusion of story-driven survival horror and aggressive twin-stick shooting that feels like it was born from the chaotic love child of Hotline Miami, Enter the Gungeon, and a neon-drenched psychological nightmare. Silly Polly Beast tells the tale of Polly, a mute young girl who's had a rough go of it. She starts off escaping a nightmarish orphanage that's more like a prison of the soul, only to tumble headfirst into an otherworldly abyss shrouded in deadly fog. In a nod to Alice in Wonderland, she tumbles down a well into a fog-shrouded underworld teeming with embers, shadowy, grotesque monsters that embody her inner demons. Bound by a desperate pact with a tormented spirit and its boggle-eyed hound companion, Polly must hunt these beasts to forge her path to freedom and reunite with her lost sister Alice. This isn't your typical hero's journey. It's a descent into madness, where Polly must confront terrifying monsters, haunting figures from her past, and ultimately a beast that forces her to study its nature to survive. The atmosphere is a neon-soaked descent into horror punk delirium. Fog-choked streets, abandoned metro tunnels, and cavernous echoes bleed into ritual altars bathed in sickly violet light, conjuring an unshakable dread of being both hunted and alone. A malignant fog slithers closer, your bracelet flaring blood red as danger nears, demanding ruthless resource management and split-second choices. The narrative is told through a mix of environmental storytelling, cryptic dialogues, and player choices that subtly influence the path forward. Early on, you're hit with this sense of isolation and dread, amplified by Polly's sarcastic, angsty inner monologue. She's not some wide-eyed innocent, she's got attitude, which makes her relatable and fun to root for. Silly Polly Beast is a hybrid that switches between side-scrolling and top-down perspectives during combat, keeping things dynamic and preventing repetition. You control Polly as she navigates the fog-laden underworld, using a fog bracelet that glows red to warn you of encroaching danger. Get too close to the deadly mist without protection, and it's game over, adding a layer of tension to every step. There is also a kiosk where you can buy items using money, or unlockable things when you have gathered enough to gather certain enemy masks. Polly has a variety of weapons to defend herself. You can use a skateboard as a melee weapon for smacking the enemy and breaking objects. The game has a stamina bar that limits your melee weapon action, so you need a strategy rather than button mashing when used to melee. You also have a firearm as your primary weapon. This magical revolver called Demolver that reloads when near burning barrels or shortly after killing an enemy. Still, it's not long before you get secondary weapon like a pump-action shotgun that's powerful but has more limited ammo, plus a bag full of explosive shadow larvae to use as grenades. The monster you will face has several types with each attack pattern that you need to study, like exploiting weaknesses or using the environment against them. The combat still has a bit of survival horror tension to it, with enemies moving aggressively, and healing often taking multiple precious items to get you back into the fight. Despite all that firepower, you will rely on most of it on your skateboard for combat because the ammo of your weapon is kinda limited. Puzzles lean on environmental interaction. Reroute crimson mists with rune-etched valves, or use your skateboard, upgraded from a rusty plank to a Hellfire Cruiser, to smash barricades and chain combo into enemies. Stealth creeps in sporadically too. Crouch behind illusory walls to evade patrols of spectral hounds, or bait beasts into fog traps for easy kills. That said, the difficulty spikes can be brutal. On normal mode, some sections felt punishing, especially if you're not quick on the draw. The game often does not give you a healing item even when you fight a lot of enemies ahead, so I must use my Dark Souls game sense to get good at the game. I died a fair bit learning enemy tells, but checkpoints are generous, so it never felt unfair. Silly Polly Beast emerges from the indie scene as a dark, ambitious, and mechanically fascinating title that defies easy categorization. Blending aggressive, perspective-shifting combat with a somber narrative and a thick, stylized atmosphere, it is a surprising and polished horror action game that successfully delivers a terrifying and mechanically diverse journey from start to finish. I will give Silly Polly Beast a score of 8 out of 10. So that's the wrap-up of our review. don't forget to check our indie game review and our indie game top list. Thank you for watching, guys, and see you in the next video.